Everybody, welcome to PUC Online Classroom. So today we're going to start a new unit, which is about Unit 11. It's really worth seeing. Okay. So what does it mean? It is valuable. It means that it is valuable to see something. All right. So the first activity is about snapshot. Okay, modern wonders. When you talk about wonders, I think you probably know the word wonder. It's just like the most amazing structure, all right, in the world. And I think Angkor Wat is one of the seven wonders. Okay, and in this case, we focus on the modern one, not the ancient one. All right. So let's begin with the first place. This one, the Lotus Temple in Delhi, India. Okay, as you can see right here, it shapes like the lotus flower. Okay, and it was finished in 1986. Okay, its lotus shaped leaves are made of marble. Okay, when you talk about marble, it's very strong and it's stronger than a concrete cement, and this is one of the modern wonders in India. Okay, and if we move on to the second one, is the Museum of Contemporary Art in Niterói in Brazil. Is a modern saucer-shaped structure. It was in Brazil, everybody, Niterói, and there's the sea around it, and it was being on a cliff right there, and the shape is like saucer-shaped structure. Saucer means it's like a small round plate that we use to keep a cup. Okay, for example, we have a cup of coffee, all right, small cup of coffee, and usually we have a small plate underneath that cup of coffee, all right, that is saucer. And look at this, it looks like a saucer, a round small plate that we use it to hold a cup of coffee, all right. And this is the second one, the modern wonders in this picture. And let's go on to the next, the Malau Viaduct. All right, it's a French word. This one, Malau, was over the Thames River, and that is the Thames River in France. Actually, this bridge is the connection between France, Paris, and Barcelona in Spain. All right, and it was opened in 2004. It's the tallest bridge in the world. Okay, it's taller than the Eiffel Tower, and I can say that the length from one side to the other side right here is about 2.5 kilometers. Okay, it's pretty long right there. Okay, it is also the most famous bridge and also tallest bridge in the world. Okay, and if we move on to next one is the National Museum in Beijing, China. It's also known as the bird's nest because of its unique appearance. So it's just like a nest of the bird right here. Okay, it's a national stadium. Okay, for playing many different kinds of sports. All right, and the last one is the Palm Islands in Dubai, United Emirates. Okay, sorry, United Arab Emirates, okay, or you can say Dubai, were designed to look like palm trees. It's like a palm tree in our country, okay. We also have palm tree, maybe in Gabon province, but I don't know exactly that this one really looks like the palm tree, okay. But they represent a palm tree right here. The construction was started in 2001, okay. That is the last wonder. So if you want to find out more these amazing wonders, you might go to this link below, science.discovery.com and thinkquest.org. Okay, so you probably can find more information about the most amazing wonders around the world by going to these links. Okay, all right, that's it for the first activity, and then we can move on to the second one, which is about listening the Empire State Building. So this is the Empire State Building. It is in New York City, and this one is about listening. So I want you to listen and check the correct answer. If something wrong, please also correct it. All right. So first, if you happen to know some of this information, then you can check by yourself if it is true. But if you're not really sure, you can listen and find out exactly the correct information. All right. Okay, so don't worry, I will attach the listening file for you so that you can listen and get the answer. Because in part B, you have to listen and check your answers. So you can just listen straightforward by just going from number 1 to number 8 and find out the exact information. Okay, and later I will give you the answer. All right, that's it for number 2. And we're going to number 3, which is about passive with by. So in this lesson, we will learn passive with by or without by. We will find out next or later. But in this case, we have past simple and present simple. The next lesson will be about present simple passive, and this one is about past simple passive. So I will explain both of them together. So now let's go to another page. I will explain you about passive. Okay, why do we use that and how is important of that? Okay, if you take a look at this handout, passive right here, let's talk about definition first before we focus on the form right here. You might take a look at the form while you're listening to me, but let me explain uh, why we use passive. So the reason we use passive just because we want to change the focus of the sentence. For example, if the sentence is in an active one, then we can change the focus of the subject by using uh, passive. All right, so that we have to change the order of the subject and the object. And another reason why we use passive just because we want to copy, someone's idea, and usually when you copy someone's idea, it is wrong. Okay, but if you want to copy without having any problem, or you can copy legally, then you can use passive. Okay, so again, if you want to copy without having problems, so you can use passive. Why? For example, if the ideas or someone's idea is in an active sentence, all right, and you happen to read that idea and you really like that idea and you want to have that idea for yourself, you want to possess that idea, so you cannot copy exactly the way it is. All right, so you have to make some changes, make sure that you keep the same meaning. All right, so passive is another way that we can use to copy someone's ideas legally, so without any problems. All right, I will show you exactly what I mean. Okay, all right, so if we take a look at the form right here, number 1, passive simple form. When I say passive simple form, I don't refer to present, I don't refer to past, present perfect, or perfect. All right, so I refer to simple form right here, maybe present simple, past simple, present perfect simple, and perfect simple. Okay, so whatever tense everybody is, make sure that it has subject, verb, and object. So we need to have these 3 elements in order to change, okay, to passive. So subject, verb, and object. Without one of them, we cannot form a passive. All right, so these 3 elements are very important. And I don't focus on tenses yet, okay? So I will explain the tenses and then you will find that passive is very easy to learn, okay? So active, we have subject, verb, and object. So in order to change to passive, we have to make a difference. We have to make a change. So object in an active sentence will be a subject in a passive sentence. As you can see, this arrow, all right? So the arrow sign right here from object to subject right here, okay? And in order to form passive, everybody, you need to add to be. So without to be, you cannot use passive. It cannot be called passive. All right, we need to add to be, and it will tell you how we can use to be right here. And the main verb right here, everybody. So the verb, you need to change that to verb 3 or past participle. All right, you have to change that to past participle. And the subject right here will be an object in a passive sentence, but you have to use by. If, all right, the subject is specific, I will explain the reason why we use by, why we don't use by. All right, so let's go back to be right here. So to be is very important in passive. Okay, so again, object will be a subject, verb will be verb 3, but you have to add to be right here first, and then subject will be an object by using by right here. But sometimes we don't use by an object because of some reason. I will explain after this, but let's focus on to be here. So to be right here, everybody, is changed according to the tense of this verb. All right, once again, to be right here is different or is changed according to an active tense. All right, if the verb right here is present simple, then to be here is am, is, or are. Understand? If this verb, the tense right here, is past simple, okay, then to be here must be was or were. Okay, and if this sentence in an active sentence right here, the tense is present perfect, then to be here is has or have been, and then plus verb 3. All right, and if this one is past perfect, so we're going back here, it had been verb 3. Okay, so it is very easy by just changing to be according to the tense of this verb. Okay, but the verb, the main verb, you have to change to verb 3, and the tense of the main verb you have to add to be. All right, if the tense is present simple, to be is am, is, are. If the tense of this verb present perfect, to be here is present perfect. If the verb here is past, to be here is past, was a word. If this one is present, sorry, past perfect, then to be here is past perfect, the same thing. Okay, so let's take a look at these 4 examples. The company employs 200 people. All right, so we have subject, the company, employs is a verb, 200 people is an object. So employs, if you take a look at employs, it is present simple, right? Because you see s right here, so it means that a company is just only one company, so it can be it. So it employs, it hires 200 people. So we can change that. So 200 people is an object, then you have to change from object to subject according to our form. Then we have 200 people. Okay, and what tense is that? It's present tense. Then you have to add to be, but to be here the tense is present simple, then you have to use am, is, or are. Understand that? That's why we have are here. And why is are? Because we have 200 people, the subject is plural, then you have to use are right here. And then verb here is verb 3, so employs going to be employed. Okay, so we just add ed, verb in participle form, and then we have to use by the company. I will explain why we use by and why we don't use. Okay, and another one, the court selected my sister for the jury. Okay, so you don't need to care the prepositional phrase right here for the jury, but what you do care is about the object after the verb right here. So the court is the subject, selected is a verb, and my sister is an object. So we have to change object to the subject. So you can say my sister, and then how many sisters? Just only one. Okay, then you have to add to be. Our to be here is different or changed according to the tense of the verb. So the tense of the verb here is past simple, then you have to use was or were. And my sister is only singular one, then you have to use was. And then selected, the verb to be is also selected, so we just leave as it is. By the code for the jury. Okay. Mira, the next example, has painted my room for 2 days. And Mira is subject, has painted is present perfect. My room is an object, and we don't need to care about for 2 days. All right, just a prepositional phrase. So we are not going to focus on that, but we do focus on object, which is a noun. So we can say my room right here. How many rooms? Just only one. What tense is that? Present perfect. So right here we have to say has or have been. But because this one is only one, then you have to say has been. So we have has been right here. And the main verb is painted. Then we have to keep it as it is, painted by Mira for 2 days. Okay. And another one is Rota had printed this report, and you can say this report is an object, had printed is past perfect simple, and it's also a verb right here. Rota is the subject. Then we can change that. So this report is the first one according to the form, subject to and object to the subject right here. Then we have this report, and then what tense is it? Not present perfect, is past perfect. All right, so we just add to be to past perfect. So we just had been. So we have had been right here, and then you have to use verb 3. And then printed. I'm sorry, printed, not painted. Is printed right here, and then by Rota. Okay. All right. So these are the examples about passive simple forms. All right, so because we have many different tenses, we know exactly how to use present, past, present perfect, and past perfect passive. But in your lesson, everybody, we just focus only present and past simple. All right, and present perfect and past perfect right here can be your extra lesson. All right, you can just focus on that or not, it's okay. All right. But let's go to notes a little bit because it's very important, as I explained a little bit earlier. So let's take a look at the first one. We use by phrase, which is by right here, by an object, when the subject is in an active sentence is specific or known. What do I mean by saying specific or known? Okay, if you take a look at Rata right here. Rata is the subject in an active sentence. Rata. So we use by whenever the subject in an active sentence is specific, is clear, is known. Everyone knows. All right. Even though you don't know Rata, I don't know Rata either. Okay. In this lesson, in this sentence, it's very specific. So we have to use by right here. That's why we have by right here. And second one, we don't use by when the subject in an active sentence is unspecific or unknown. All right, so these are specific subjects. So let me give you an example. I can say someone stole my pen. All right, so we have someone is a subject, stole is a verb, my pen is an object, but stole is past simple, right? And we can change to passive by using object first. So we can say my pen. How many pens? Just only one. Then we have to add to be. All right. And our to be here, we need to focus on the tense. Which tense exactly? Stole. So past simple. Only one pen. Then you can say was. Okay. And then the verb stole, you have to change to verb 3. Okay, according to the forms right here. Then you have to change to stolen. All right. And I'm not going to use by. Why? Because someone is not clear. All right, it's unspecific or unknown. We don't know who they are. All right, we don't know who he or she is, so we don't use by. Okay, so that is the reason we don't use by phrase, just because the subject in an active sentence is unspecific or unknown. All right. So when you see someone, people, they, we don't know who they are exactly, then you don't need to use by. Okay. So here is our answer. My pen was stolen. You don't need to say by someone because someone is not clear enough. So we don't use by. And let's move to the third point. We cannot form a passive. Oh, this is about what we can form, and now we cannot form. So we cannot form or create a passive if the verb in the active sentence is an intransitive verb. You might ask me what an intransitive verb is. So intransitive verb is the verb that does not need an object. So without an object, it is an intransitive verb. Okay, so let's take a look at these two examples. The baby cries. Cry what? Cry something? No, of course not. So when you see this, the baby cries, you don't happen to see an object, right? So when there is no object, we cannot form a passive. Okay, we cannot form a passive. And another one, I run in the morning with my friends. So in the morning is prepositional phrase, with my friends is another prepositional phrase. So you cannot say run something. Alright, because you decide right here, it doesn't have any object or noun right here. So there is no object. So when a sentence doesn't have an object, imagine that if one sentence we have only subject verb and we don't have an object right here. So how can we form a passive? Because a subject in a passive voice or passive sentence is from an object in an active sentence. So if we don't have an object, so we cannot form a passive. As I mentioned or explained a little bit earlier, I mentioned that these three are important. Without one, we cannot form a passive. Understand that? So without passive, we cannot form passive. Without subject, we cannot form a passive. Without verb, we cannot form passive. Without an object, we cannot form a passive. That is the reason number 3 right here, we cannot form a passive if the verb in the active sentence is an intransitive verb. So verb can be divided into two. One is transitive and intransitive. Transitive verb needs object. Intransitive verb doesn't need object. If you happen to see right here, stole something. So stole or steal is transitive verb, so it needs an object. If you say someone stole and you just finish your sentence like this, it doesn't make sense at all. All right, people will not understand what it means. So you have to have something right there. We have to have an object. So that's why not all the verbs, not all the sentences and active can be formed passive. You have to take a look at the verb itself, whether it's transitive or intransitive. All right, and you probably ask me how to see trans or intransitive. So very simple. When you take a look at one sentence and after the verb you don't see a noun, you don't see an object, you don't happen to see any object, that is intransitive verb. Okay, just like in this case, it's a long sentence, right? But it doesn't have an object right here. So we know exactly that run is an intransitive verb. Okay. All right. So if you have more questions, you can leave your comment below. All right. Or maybe you can go to our Telegram group chat. Okay. I think that's it for the lesson. But before I go, I want you to practice exercise right here. Okay. You can go to your book on page 73. We have two parts, part A and part B. All right. So part A is about passive, and part B you have to rewrite using passive as well. But right here you have to use by because all are very specific. Look at the subject: the sculptor Frederick, specific, Daniel, Day Lewis, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Wupak, J.K. Rowling, Empire Magazine. All right, so these are very specific subjects. So whenever you change that to passive, please make sure that you have to use by. All right. Okay, so on Tuesday, I will give you the answer for this. And if you have question, once again, please leave the questions in the comment below, or you can go to our Telegram group chat. That's it for today. Thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye.